So glad to have all of you guys back with us again tonight. Last week was simply phenomenal.
Very.
As it kind of just is a lot of these times. We talked about a word that I guess Michael invented.
Man, truthophobic.
Truthophobic. And
deniers of the truth.
People that
Refusing.
have a hatred.
Yes. Man.
A disdain.
Great word.
For the truth. In the same way that they would say that if you say anything negative about anybody in the LGBTQIA plus community, you have a disdain or a dislike or a hatred for them. I guess the same could be applied to the truth.
There was a little boy, he was 12 or 13, reading at the city town hall meeting to the school board meeting, because he was the threat of getting suspended because he wore a shirt that says there are only two genders. And they called his dad, and he was saying, I was so grateful that my dad was supporting me and wearing my shirt. And they took me in this room before they called my dad, and I talked to all these grown-ups for some hours. Different people were coming in.
Mm-hmm.
And I just kept thinking, that was already wrong. That's what.
Yeah, it's like wearing a shirt that says 2 + 2 is 4, and then having to explain yourself. Somebody decided that it's 5, and if you decide it's 5, it doesn't change the reality that it's 4.
Truthophobic.
Truthophobic. Well, we're not truthophobic on this wonderful show. So welcome to our latest edition of TNT. Boom! I am Pastor Joe with the great Michael Amel, the first. And we are super excited. Jorinda, my dear friend, Elder Baker, Elder Hawks. We're so excited that y'all have decided to be with us again. Man, it got so heavy last week that this is round 2 of our continuing discussion concerning truthophobia, which is probably the biggest pandemic that has hit America
since the history in the whole time of its existence.
Mm-hmm.
Before we got on today, we were sharing with Pastor. Sis already saw it. Ashley already saw it before, and I was showing Pastor my latest post. It was almost, I guess, 10,000 or so, not quite. But I just made it last night, and the man said that he was lactating.
That's what he said. That's what he said.
I should have got a reaction shot of Pastor watching it for y'all. I'm going to try to do that next time. Because the dude really said he was lactating. As a matter of fact, I'm going to try to put the link in the chat. You can always go to my Instagram and see it for yourself.
Yep, he's putting the link in the chat. You can check it out for yourself. This is what the world is coming to in 2023, rapidly I'm not even going to say advancing, devolving into whatever this is. Saying things like there are only 2 genders can get you hemmed up when I think we all just know what it is. It's just 2 of them. Of course, I know that there's the variations of the XY, XYY, all that kind of stuff, but it still comes down to male and female.
I think anything with a bunch of extra conversation is part of the delusion and distraction.
That's it. That's the distraction. Well, what about this? And you've got 8 billion people, and you want to talk to me about 10,000? Like for what? Like why? I mean, like why? Are the 10,000 people too and relevant? Of course they are. But we don't have to uh, make these wide sweeping changes to the nomenclature, to the language, to legislature because of very minuscule exceptions. So the first question of the night that has come, of course, from my dear auntie over on Facebook land is: do you think this trans stuff is an element of a hormonal imbalance?
Wow, great question.
Great question.
I would say yes. I don't think that it is completely that, but I think hormonal imbalance plays a role. And I think that part of a specific agenda is to create these chemical and hormonal imbalances. Studies have shown that. Yes.
Yep, I wholeheartedly agree. But I would say that some of this is just specific engineering, if you will. We were just sharing that we were both paying some attention to some of the most recent statistics, and there's some studies that say that in certain parts of the country, like California, the trans movement population is up almost 5,000% than it was just five years ago, and some of that is because it's possible that there is a hormonal imbalance, say in an adult. Well, that adult is allowed to make laws or have influences in certain pockets, and has enough gravitas, they can begin to introduce an imbalance as normality.
I see it. I hope you all are catching this.
And then if I introduce something that's abnormal as normal to children, then a child is going to gravitate to it because children don't really have the capacity to make adult decisions. This is why we don't let them carry guns. This is why we don't let them drive cars.
Even make their own bedtime.
Exactly. And so it's like just right now, if somebody decided that they're sleepophobic, right? And that nobody should have to go to bed. And you start introducing this to kindergartners and third graders, they should be able to stay up as long as they want because you're going to fall asleep eventually. You shouldn't have to be forced to it. It's going to happen for you, right? Then the kids are going to be like, that's right. And if teachers are now saying this, you're going to have a bunch of zombie people walking around who don't understand the importance of the discipline that sleep has.
And there's a specific movement to separate children from parents, from parenting.
Absolutely.
Home parenting.
Yep.
We were talking about that earlier. Tyler, I see you, Tyler Benner over on in the IG land. Yep. We got Tyler up there, JLW.
And my friend April from high school.
Hey, April Channing. Yep. And Facebook. Zoe is up there.
Yep. Cuzzo. Yep.
Zoe Whitson. We try to shout everybody out while we still keep it moving. Thank you all for joining us. There is a movement to create a divide. There's several divisions: man and wife, husband and wife, or man and woman.
Yeah.
And then children and parents is a whole nother thing. Just like black, white, old, young, everything is a tool for division and distraction. And so we have to increase our awareness about these things. I was asked earlier, I was in a conversation about why does this matter? This conversation about gender and this man lactating or saying that he's lactating, that is beneath us. This is what these people are saying. This is beneath us, church people, beneath us. It's beneath. And I agree. I just need for you to be aware of what's happening. Absolutely. Because it affects you. It's just like a child and a parent. Whatever you and the other parent are doing does not concern the children, but everything you do affects them.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So that's the same template that I'm choosing to use.
Yep. We can, on some levels, use the pacifist stance that these things are beneath us if we choose to do so. But we also must be aware that if we refuse to speak up, speak out, then we're going to then subjugate ourselves to the people that are creating laws that are trying to govern how we live. And um, if you're accepting of um, the trans community, as I think all of us are to a point, um, I think that in America, most mature adults believe that you have the right to do whatever you want to do. And I think that most of us, particularly, I would say those of us who are Christians, would say that this country was established under the guise of freedom, religious freedom, and freedom from religion. So if I want to have the right to go to church and sing and shout and love God on Sunday, you have the right not to, right? And we have to be able to walk that path together. The problem comes in when you begin to try to impose in laws that govern society the way that your worldview is, overarching mine. And if we're in the church, if we're believers, and we understand, then we have to be sober. We have to walk circumspectly. We have to be vigilant and understanding that if we're not going to be putting people in offices that are going to make laws that reflect our ideals, we're going to have to essentially suffer from whatever those ideals are. Those laws are going to be made for us by people that don't represent us, or we're going to have to be silent about it because there's nothing that we're going to be able to do about it. And I just don't know if I agree with that. I don't see Jesus being silent a lot about significant issues.
Right. And there's a certain awareness. You have to know that these things affect you and your household. That you just have to know that.
Yeah.
If you have children or not.
Right.
If you're a part of this society, it is going to affect you.
Yep. Yeah. If you let's just say you have a son or a daughter, person in your family who believes that there are only two genders, they should have the right to wear that shirt to school. But
not with threat of suspension.
But right, there should not be a threat of suspension for that. And if you think about it, if they can suspend somebody for that, then the next step is complete anarchy.
Correct.
Because you can't then have an opinion that goes against whatever the new thing that's been decided.
No free thinking.
No.
Schools are not designed for that anyway, the current education system. I told you all before, Rockefeller, John D. Rockefeller, I believe it's 1904, gave a speech and he literally said that I need what I want is a nation of workers, not a nation of thinkers. I don't need a nation of thinkers. I need a nation of workers. And we began to have what some call the Industrial Revolution. All the factories were filled with people doing the same rigorous, monotonous work. And then schools trained you and programmed you for that, not to ask questions, do what you're told, and keep in time with everyone else. Man.
I've seen a meme being kind of passed around. Well, I don't know if it's a meme issue. I don't know what it is, but basically somebody was comparing music in 1950s, 60s, and today. And then they was comparing fashion 50s, 60s today. And they were comparing how we consume things. And then they had the school, and it was the exact same thing. It's like nothing really. There are some technology advances, but essentially the very structure and kind of how it is hasn't really changed. And here I am preaching to the choir as a teacher who is a product. Okay, I'm gonna just say product of that particular system, who understands it. And I wrestle all the time because there is a piece of me that wants to rid myself of this. But then there's a piece of me that says, if there aren't people like me in it, what are we gonna do? So right. I don't know. There's a fine line there for some of us, because I've had some of these hard conversations, and I'm one who is not afraid to challenge the children to think. Ask them, well, why did you say that? Why do you think that? And it is very clear, very obvious, that media, particularly social media, is having such a huge impact on our kids, on our children, that is beyond the scope of what we're teaching them on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And if we allow it to be so, then we're going to get the products of that. Kind of goes back to a few weeks ago, training or grooming. We have, you got
Right there.
to,
Right there.
The book teaches us to train our children, not to put them in their room with the door closed as long as they're quiet with a phone
or TV,
because you have no control. Even if you have all of the controls, you still have no control over what they're being subjected to. And the people that are pushing these agendas, they have nefarious motives for doing so.
Anybody in the Boom community, TNT family, remember playing outside? I need you to put in the comments, whatever you like. What is your outside activity?
Yes, sir.
Do that for me. That's it for me. I need to see what your outside activity.
Yes.
Hopscotch.
Yep.
Bob jacks, marbles, basketball,
kickball.
We used to play curveball.
Yep. Yep. Bounce that ball off.
Couldn't go around the corner because it was too far.
Yep. Ride bikes, climb trees.
Anybody. Clem the Gym said a bicycle.
Yep.
Foursquare, my baby girl said. We made up games. Yep. That's what I know. Yep. I was there. Right. Make them games up. What you doing? Figure it out.
Yeah, man. But think about it. If you're a kid,
volleyball, Ramona B says,
and it's a bunch of kids outside, just the idea that somebody's going to have to organize it.
It's a lot of
somebody's got some organizational skills.
It's a community.
Somebody's going to have to come up with, the rules or whatever.
Football, basketball, Brother Sean says.
If there's a problem, somebody's going to have to. It just teaches you all these things that you need.
Yeah, community.
Yeah, it builds community.
Man. Bob and Jax, Karen said, Karen said at the Virginia Beach School Board meeting, a man was kicked out for saying SS?
Sis, maybe.
Sis, okay. But 40 students had the, quote, right to speak on alphabetical rights against their parents.
Wow.
What?
Yep.
To influence the vote. Wow.
My wife said she was a homebody in the house.
That's good. You were safe, weren't you? You weren't in them streets. She not for the streets. But Sherry said, boom.
There it is.
See you, the boom.
Our brother.
Listen, I learned how to play when the fellas wasn't outside. I turned double dutch for the girls.
Oh, yeah.
I sure did. And learn how to learn how to play it. Played Bob Jazz. Yes, I played volleyball. I'm looking at these Foursquare. Yes, baby girl. You know I played at Foursquare. I was all at the Boys and Girls Club, man. Foursquare.
She said she rode bikes, but the queer community was still there. Okay.
We had certain people, and we called them all. There was different names, some favorable, some not, and they did not enforce their choices on us.
Yeah.
Or even their mindset. I made a post recently. Of course, it's not popular, but I stay in jail according to sis. So I stay in Facebook jail. But the post said it was a story. I think I'm gonna repost it. Homosexuality is not an identity.
I saw it.
It is a practice.
Yep.
I think I tell you on that. It's not an identity, it's a practice. What do you all think of that?
Yep. A preacher said something similar. That he says an adjective. It's not a noun or something. I can't remember what he said, but when he said
spot on, right?
Yeah, I was like, wow, that makes a whole lot of sense. Yeah, and I obviously we're not saying that going outside is the cure all for the country,
right?
But the point is that our children today, I have a 4-month-old son who has never lived in the world without the internet, without the phone,
correct,
without all this stuff that he doesn't even know exists right now, right? I mean, sometimes he'll be looking at the phone because it's bright and things,
right?
But he doesn't have he's never going to have a concept where this wasn't a thing,
right?
And so Same thing. I think. Well, same thing with all my kids because
Yeah.
they're all younger. So they've always had the influence of complete information and whatever has happened. Um, some of them you grew up in the kind of the post social media world, which is a whole another animal. And so everything that happens, parents, I think we have to be aware of how it can influence and shape culture. And if we're not, if we say, well, it doesn't really matter to us, then I think we're making a grave mistake.
Yep. Joe's kids never, and even mine, because they were younger, but never have known a world without a black president.
Yeah.
Figure that part.
Yep. Yeah, same.
Some of you all have lived a whole life. I mean, you're still with us. Praise God for that. But you lived a lot of life prior to, and there was never no barometer for having a black president. You said maybe one day, but not really.
Right. Had a black president. We currently have a black vice president, which is
in a woman.
Right.
And like you never
right. Are you kidding? Like these things never happen.
But the kids don't have a concept of that before time.
Right.
Ever.
Exactly. Yep.
I think that's noteworthy.
It is. It's significant. The time that we're living in, the time that we're dealing with. And there's just a lot of things out there in the ether, if you will, in the atmosphere that is trying to, I believe, push us away from the identity that I think that there is a creator, that there's a God, there's a purpose for your life. A lot of this stuff is just, you can just do what you want. And I would say, again, most of us are fine with adults doing what you want to do. The problem is that when you begin to try to influence children, is where we're really trying to start to draw some lines. Because why? Why are you so focused and bent on pushing things to kids?
And so going back to the previous point, attaching it specifically to this with a laser focus, if you remove yourself and say that's trite or beneath me or it's over there and I'm over here, doesn't concern me because of its absurdity, then who will be the voice for the children?
Yep.
Who will advocate and protect the children from this madness?
Right.
And mayhem and malevolence and evil.
Right.
Chaos, confusion, and bedlam and sin.
Yeah, if you click on that link that Michael posted,
yeah, please.
Then you're going to see a human being that was born a male.
Sis, can you put it in the Facebook land?
Who is claiming to be lactating? Right now, again, you could put all the makeup, do what you want to do, but if that male is taking these chemicals in his body, these drugs, whatever, that is producing stuff coming out of his nipples, why do you think he's doing it? He's doing it to feed it, I would assume, to an infant. That infant can't protect himself from that. And the government had to step in at one point in time when the crack epidemic happened and talk about, you're taking these drugs and you're producing crack babies. We have to step in. Child Protective Services. All us got crack baby friends.
Yeah.
Who had to get taken away. Correct. Somebody auntie had to raise whatever because the mama was addicted to a drug.
Correct.
And the government said, you're in danger to the infant that can't protect himself because what you're putting in your body, you're forcing onto this person. If this stuff becomes normalized, then we're saying, well, it don't matter to us. Then how do we stop whatever that is? Because you have to understand it's not normal. It cannot possibly
it's just not
be normal. And so it's some weird substance that an infant is probably going to be ingesting because his mom has decided he's not a male.
I like that term. Can I use that?
You can take it, run with it.
Dad, mom, or mom, dad.
Yeah.
Whatever, tickles your fancy. Y'all doing it anyway. Karen said tag, kickball, and everyone was in when the street light came on. That part. A strong family support. Aunt Ruth said Bill Clinton. I think that's a reference to the black president. I think you all should research him and his wife and their connectivity to children. That's all I say. We're gonna get canceled probably tonight, but anyway.
I mean, there's a whole movie about Epstein on Netflix, and he was friends with all of them.
All of them. You still ain't seen the manifest with the names on it either, have you? The list. I wonder why. But you look for them people in a submarine. They went down there with a joystick controller from a PS5. I think they had a PS4, Jane. It wasn't even a 5. Y'all went down there with a 4? Y'all went to the bottom of the ocean with a 4. Not even a 5. I'm just saying. Yeah. At least get a 5, bruh. Okay, I'm done.
But yeah,
we're gonna not talk about this issue. We're gonna talk about that.
Yeah, right.
And didn't come back up. Exactly. Went down there with a fold, a PS4 controller. The jank when the left stick was stuck too. You know how it gets stuck after a while.
Yep.
No, man. Take that jank back to GameStop and reconfigure it. You got to pair it again. What? They went too far from the signal.
Yeah, that was something like that.
What are y'all doing?
My dear auntie says it is already normalized in school at the elementary school level. As a teacher, I dealt with it daily, not just one family with 2 moms or 2 dads, more than 5 families.
Huh. And what did you do, sis? How did you handle that, Auntie Patricia Williams? How did you handle more than 5 families having to address mom and mom, dad and dad?
I saw it. I would say at my school too a few times, but not really as overtly stated as that. You could kind of tell when the 2 ladies showed up. One was auntie or whatever. They weren't really saying it wasn't overt. It was kind of what it was. You know what I mean? And that's a tough subject because again, if a lot of times I would say in my experience, it kind of in the clientele that we serve, there was a heterosexual couple, and for some reason it didn't work out between the male and the female. And then the female has the kids. So she's got 2 kids, she got 3 kids, and then she decides to start experimenting, or she finds what she would say love in the opposite sex. And now presents a scenario where it's like, the same sex. She finds love with the same sex. It presents a scenario where it's like, well, what are we gonna do? And a lot of times, you'll see them just kind of living together or whatever. And it's not necessarily stated, but it is just kind of like one of those things. Kind of is what it is.
Man, Tasha says she called one. My sister Natasha, she's a school teacher as well. I called one a mama dude.
Yeah.
Erica said, we may say it doesn't concern us, but when there's a man in the bathroom stall beside your daughter, you wonder how we got here. That's good. I would say for me, yes, that's good. I would say for me, I don't wonder because I've been saying the whole time, I'm looking for some kind of trying to just inform the people. What the challenge is that attitude of not concern being projected to me as you're crazy. It's a conspiracy. You don't know what you're talking about. That's crazy.
Yep.
And so I just want to just inform the people. People make their own decisions. No one cares. Biker said no one cares until it gets personal for them.
Yep.
Like the dudes was telling the judge they had the judge on trial. He let the boy go. The boy raped the 15-year-old girl in the bathroom.
Right.
Because he said he was a girl.
Right.
The judge, they put the judge on trial. Like, how do you let this go? Well, the boy said he was a girl.
Yeah.
And they couldn't make a disruption because it was during Pride Month. So we can't make too much of a stink about this.
Yeah.
Who's advocating for the little girl?
Yeah. How do you do it? If the boy is in the girl's bathroom and the boy says that he's a girl and there is some type of sexual activity, how then do we accuse the boy who says that he's a girl or identifies as such of rape? And again, we open up all of these huge cans of worms because we don't all truth and logic has just kind of left us. Dr. Williams says that she walked on thin ice, addressed them as they wanted to be addressed because that is the law, treated them as individuals, also treated the students as individuals. The families and students knew her beliefs, but she didn't discuss her beliefs with them because they knew by the way she carried herself. I tell the story quite often up here that one of my favorite students, and still to this day, I try not to have favorite students, but she is one of my favorite students. She was in third grade. Sometimes she would come to school and she was a boy, and she would tell me, I loved her. I thought that she was awesome had great personality, full of life, funny, creative. I oftentimes prayed for her because I didn't understand how her parents allowed her to live in this particular manner without any level of correction, but they were really sanctioning it. And I don't know. I haven't really, heard from her in a while, but I'm sure that she's super successful as a student because she was one of the smartest students I've ever had. And we had to deal with that bathroom issue, and without making it very, overtly stated, we would just send her kind of to the bathroom of her choice while the other kids weren't around, and try to mitigate any potential craziness and foolishness from that. But I think that, like, I hate to say this kind of like this, but we were kind of talking about this when we were talking about it last week. I think that, homosexuality kind of in a vacuum, kind of in and of itself, I don't think that it is as damaging to me, and maybe I'm wrong, as damaging to the essence of what's going on in the world as where we are now. See, at some point, I mean, Mike and I, both in entertainment, have been for more longer than we haven't been. So right. Coming across homosexuals, gay couples with children, even it is what it is. Right. You know what I'm saying? We do stand on the word of God. We have our beliefs. We believe what the Bible says about those things. But I think that's almost a separate conversation. We talked about it a little bit last week. What's happening now is this trans movement.
That's different.
I just think it's totally different and so much more
layers.
Heavy.
It's layers of it.
Yeah, and even I'm gonna speak for a few of my homosexual friends. They stand against some of this stuff.
Like, yeah, absolutely.
Y'all,
I can name some names right now.
Far, right? Yeah. This is like. Not that we're going to just excuse, all homosexuals and all of that kind of stuff. But the point is, what's happening now with these puberty blockers, with these drugs that they're trying to give children at 3 and 4 years old, with buying little Johnny girls' clothes and the books that they're giving the children, it's going to a point where if you're not protecting your child's identity in California, you have legislators that are trying to get your your kid taken away from you.
This is real.
This is not a joke. This is real. Gender identity. They're crafting language now to have gender identity protected under the law.
So as a parent, if you don't accept and acknowledge and support your child that says, today from moving forward, I'm a boy. And she's always been a pretty little girl, Jenny. But now moving forward, call me Jack.
If you don't, as the parent, that's abuse now. Well, it's not so now, but
they're crafting it.
They're crafting it. They're trying to get these things passed.
They're gonna come put the bracelets on you, take you on vacation to a small place, and your child will be somewhere else.
Right.
The
schools are being touted, as they should, as a safe space, a safe place for children that want to be out. And we don't have to tell your parent. So you could be 8 years old, your name can be Jenny, and you can come to school and tell your teacher, I really feel like I'm Jack.
So we don't need to be out, man. You can't be out at school. What I need you to go is outside.
Exactly.
And play some dodgeball.
Exactly.
Out. That's the out you go. Get out the kitchen till the food get done.
Yeah.
You acting out your mind.
Right. Yep.
I can't take you, bro.
Yep.
Like Nice Nash. She's been married to Niecy Nash.
Niecy Nash, yeah.
She's been married to two or three men and now married to a woman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Why did parents lose their rights? Karen said. Erica said a great question. What he was just explaining, I think that kind of went into what that question was. Yeah, they're crafting language for it, and it's a specific division. If we as in the powers that be, empower the children or make the children empowered enough to be governors or lord over their own bodies in space, then they can do with that they want to.
Yep.
And it doesn't have to include you.
Yep.
So if I'm 7, a year-old little boy, and I have Mr. Williams as a teacher, and I think Mr. Williams has some strange proclivities, I can spend time with him when the class is at recess or at lunch, because I said it. I don't have to tell my parents, and he doesn't have to ask me, because they primed me with this information and these enchantments and sensational things. I'm going to be encourageable, yes, but I'm going to promote and provoke it to Mr. Williams.
Right. 1,000%.
You see what I'm saying?
You see it clear.
It's so I don't know how y'all can't see it. It's so like it's crazy.
Yep. Yep. 2 statements, questions. John Boyette said Joe talks about gender identity issues he sees as a teacher. What about what you see in church? Good question. Kojic has struggled with this issue as well.
It ain't just Kojic. It's Catholic.
It's definitely has been in the church. So our hormonal imbalance is a thought pattern. So let's go, because one of the reasons why, the catalyst for this whole discussion, Truthophobic, was when Dr. Jamal Harrison Bryant went and met with Bishop O.C. Allen. For those,
there've been some backlash from some other preachers too, and some other. It's been hot topic,
right?
Hot button.
Yep. If you don't know, Bishop Allen is an openly gay man who has a gay partner who they call First G. Has a vibrant, growing ministry.
First G. Did y'all hear that? First Gentleman.
First Gentleman. Vibrant, growing ministry in Atlanta, Georgia. Very progressive and LGBTQIA affirming. Obviously, if the pastor is gay.
Vibrant, growing ministry is what he said.
Yeah.
Vivacious was the word
right.
that I think they would appreciate.
And so this question, I guess.
Growing. I don't think I like growing as an adjective for this.
Well, I mean, it's getting bigger.
Even that. We talk about gay men. That just don't go together. I'm sorry. Okay, go ahead. I thought it was funny.
Fun included, right?
Included. Intended.
Right. Singing out culture because we were raised in that. And
yeah.
that I remember having this discussion 20 years ago about homosexuality in the church.
Yeah.
We actually have on tape, but you probably never see it because of because if you weren't there. We've just had some people that were there ask us to kind of keep some of this under wraps. But when Bishop Eddie Long passed, I had this idea to do a open forum, or open panel,
right,
called Eddie Long, Homosexuality in the Church. My brother taped it for us. We had some great people up there.
Man, wasn't it good?
Yep. Sister Evangelist Siobhan Smith was up there. Dr. Stroda.
We got to figure out how to do that, though. Just at least a little bit.
Brian.
It was a lot.
What's Brian's last name? I can't remember his last name right now. My man Brian, Kenneth, Brian Kenneth, Lint, and the church was quite full, and we gave people a microphone to ask questions concerning this particular issue, because homosexuality in the church is and has been an issue. I think that the challenge that anybody who names the name of Jesus Christ has to deal with is the interpretation of Scripture. And I am not one who believes that the Bible is a book of do's and don'ts. I believe that the Bible is a book of principles, and it doesn't seem to me, and this is me, that there is anything in the Bible, any principle, any plumb line that supports the idea of homosexuality. Part of the problem, and one of the reasons why Jamal went to this particular church, is that in calling out the sin, we have often been very derogatory in calling out the sinners. And so there's been this chasm that has kind of developed, and you will see those that support say, well, you're cool with the homosexual singing, you're cool with the homosexual writing the song that you just sang, you're cool with the homosexual helping your church grow by enhancing your choir, but you're not cool with them and their lifestyle that they are fine with. And in some cases, that's true. I believe that the church should be a place where everybody should be able to come just as they are. But you should come as you are, but you shouldn't leave as you are.
Hey, that part.
And that
change.
If I have any type of sin in my life, I believe that I serve the Savior who can save me from that sin, not just from the curse of it, but can save me from actual having to live under the bondage of committing it. And a lot of times, homosexuality is called out as a sin, as an abomination, but we don't really necessarily have the way that I think Jesus would address it. And so a lot of homosexual people in church are leaving traditional churches and finding churches that affirm them, which I just have to say this, that's the wrong reason to go to a church, period.
Period. You should be a part of your life. You should be a part of a church that challenges your life and your lifestyle. You heard me say it. Part of a ministry that challenges your life and your lifestyle.
Yeah. You don't go to church for affirmation. You go to church for transformation. And that's all of us. It's not just the homosexual.
No, because your sin is hidden doesn't mean you're excluded.
It's all
Come
of
on,
us.
man. Get into the thing, man. That's
all of us. But the problem, I guess, the challenge is that, you see, if I have a gambling addiction, right? Chances are you're only going to know it if you start seeing me losing a bunch of houses and cars and clothes and stuff.
Right. My jewelry
right.
gone.
But the challenge with homosexuality and all of the alphabets is when they go to church or whatever, oftentimes there is this broadcasting kind of this is my lifestyle. And so there's this idea of open rebellion, right? And it's difficult to deal with, as we said last week, because the church has to be a place that has the autonomy to address sin, problems, challenges, issues, tensions from a place of purity. If R. Kelly wants to lead worship at your church, he has sold more records than anybody in the 90s. Right. He might be the greatest R&B singer of this generation ever.
Yeah.
Wrote some great gospel songs.
And some R&B and some other
right.
some pop.
Right. If you hire him to lead your children's choir, you should get locked up.
It's really simple.
It's just that simple. We love how talented he is, but he can't serve here because he's a known pedophile. He's violated the opportunity to teach the children.
We love your records, Doc.
Right. You can't teach him I Believe I Can Fly. On You Sunday, you can't be here. And that's just kind of how it is, man.
Wow, that's so tickle, brother. It's really true, man.
And it's nothing, but it's nothing wrong with the church. It's not the church's problem. It's the person that is committing this kind of open thing.
It would seem that the openness too is something that we always have not challenged. We just allow it. Oh, that's how they are.
Right.
And I would just have to present to the conversation that if we're going to rest in that's just how you are or that's just how I am, then there is no change. Hasn't been a change and no room for change. There's not even a plan for change.
Yep.
This is just how I am. Then what are you working towards? And you definitely, as we all are, can be a work in progress. But if we're building your house and we still on the foundation after 10 years, ain't no wall went up yet, not one, we're out of order.
Yep.
We're out of order because the worship is good. The pray,
right.
He added 100 people came following this person to this ministry.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So the tithe, the offering looked real good. The plate is fat. Yep. No, bro.
The church has to be able to address sin, just in general, and it's supposed to do so from a place of authority. But it is not supposed to do it from a place of being dogmatic.
Right.
And the problem is that because we've been guilty of being dogmatic, then we have been accused of not operating in love. Mm-hmm. And so the next sub part is that love accepts everything when that's not true.
Right.
Love has a responsibility to correct, right?
Right.
And if I see somebody doing something incorrect, I have to challenge it. And I think that goes back to your question about Auntie, about is hormonal imbalance a thought pattern? I think hormonal imbalances influence how we think. I think that the Bible, though, is clear that we can change how we think. We can be transformed by the renewing of our minds. That strongholds, as the word teaches us, that the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through God to the pulling down of strongholds.
Yeah.
Casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of God, and bring into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ. All of these things are talking about the mental capacity. It's not about demons and imps. It's about how you think. And there's a lot of stuff that is being presented to us that's challenging our thinking. And we're not subjugating our thinking to the obedience of Jesus Christ. And if the homosexual says, in my lifestyle, I'm obedient to Christ, I'm going to challenge you. Just like if the guy who's abusing his wife, I'm going to challenge you. Just like the person who lies in their tithing, I'm going to challenge you that you might be obedient to him in something, but you're not being obedient to the understanding of Jesus Christ in how you should be. And I think all of us can find improvements in some areas of our lives that I could be more subjected to his authority over my life. And I think that's the whole issue, the whole tension of what church is supposed to do in general. All right. Shout out. Love you, Pastor Whitaker. Let me see. Got a couple of good comments. I think the church should teach love, but we can't. Church will never be what they should. Love is for the person, not for what a person does or how a person sees himself. I think I agree with that. I think I agree with that. But see, love, again, we got to do this love thing. See, love is getting a bad rap. Because I do believe that you do have to love everybody. But love doesn't just say, I don't think love just accepts any and everything. I don't think that's real love. I don't know. I mean, I would love to hear what y'all have to say about that. But I don't think that just because I love a person, that means that I have to blanketly, carte blanche, accept everything that they do. And that means that I love them. I feel like love compels me that if I see you going the wrong way, that I should have something to say about it. All right. A big part of the problem is that the church has focused so much on the sin without having, the training or resources to support the transformation to become the workmanship that God has called us to. Absolutely. We continue to have these levels of sin. And as a church community, we must receive the training through the word of God and other resources to support the transformation and provide support and help all those who struggle with infirmities and weaknesses. That's really, really good. And of course, my other aunt says, what about the beam in our eyes? Church is not a perfect place because the church is people. It's comprised of people. We're not perfect.
True.
But I mean, this might be a whole nother topic, but this idea of judging and this idea that because you have sinned, you can't say anything is ludicrous. And it's ludicrous. It's my pet. It's like a pet peeve of mine because we know that Jesus says, "Judge not, lest you be judged." But this is very specific of what he's talking about in that particular context. And that the church, we're going to judge the world. And if the idea that a judge has to be perfect, then you think that the judge that told you that you had to pay $200 for that speeding ticket is perfect? No, but you can still sit as an authority because of your position. But anyway.
That part. All right. This is to read something. Okay. Correct and rebuke. Period. So they are warming the pews, Karen said. Usually if you jump over there, then we ain't reading over here fast enough.
I'm sorry.
Right, Micah, let me see. Right. We should correct and rebuke one another in love for the other person's sake. Correct? Right, Micah, that's what Tasha said. Karen says, so what is the difference in teaching just do what you feel and a teaching of a cult mentality? When the government allows it, it's not a problem. We don't let little ones touch stoves because we care and we don't want to see them hurt. It would be abusive to accept ignorance or naivete of the one you care for. Micah said that. Wow.
Yep. Neither is the school a perfect place. Still, the church cannot address these issues. How can we expect the world to address them? Exactly.
You should homeschool your children or micro school. Yeah. I keep saying it over and over. I'm hoping to manifest it. It'll just come and happen. It'll manifest it. Yeah. There is nowhere that you can turn, or maybe you all can tell me because I don't know, where you're not having this agenda of the alphabet gang forced into your life. Is there a place that you can think of, Pastor? Or
Nope.
Anybody tell me, where can you go where it doesn't?
It's in music, it's in media, movies, television, education, science, government, politics. It's everywhere.
Huh.
I am glad though to see that there are some, particularly there are some women that are beginning to speak up a little bit louder. Some people are like, "Man, we've gone too far. Like, when are we gonna stand up?" And I think that we have, this idea of toxic masculinity and feminism. Uh, I am not a toxic masculine man, but I definitely believe in the sanctity of womanhood and that we should be speaking up more. I think it's particularly for the men that think they can lactate. To me, that's just extra disrespectful to a woman. I don't find the same offense for a woman that thinks that she might can beat me playing one-on-one basketball or something. It's not the same level of offense for me, right? Because at the end of the day, there kind of is a insulation of masculinity, right? It's just kind of like it's just certain things that just aren't going to happen. You know what I'm saying? It just is what it is, right? But I think that really uh, we should be speaking up louder to protect our women because they're being attacked on every side. And the real men, can't say that word, who want to protect, um, you know, uh, it becomes a hard thing to do when we don't have women that kind of have the same level of angst. I think that we do.
Wow. Do you think it is more? First of all, I don't think there's a such thing as toxic masculinity. I think it's a fraud. I wrote on my caption for that post that I just made. Can somebody redefine that for me after watching this video? People are toxic. Being masculine is not toxic.
No.
So that's first. Address that. And as men, our part of our position is protecting and providing.
Yep.
What does that even look like? I don't even expect all the women to even understand that.
Right.
It's not even in your lane.
Right.
Let's really get to the bottom nitty gritty of that. So you don't have to get it. You don't have to even understand. But some things are so basic and clear that you can't refuse them.
Yep. Yep.
And both men and women are charged with protecting and providing for the children.
Yes.
Okay. So, but our particular disdain and angst for it is going to be at a higher level.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And I'm unapologetic for that.
Nah. Not apologizing for it.
I asked the question earlier, where can you go to not hear or see this? Any show you turn on, music video, anything you're putting in, even the vibrations of music are centered around making something happen and activate in your person.
Yep.
It's so much bigger than just even this conversation about the alphabet game.
Yep.
What I want so desperately in my heart is for all the boomers and just all of society to know how it's all connected. I need you to get that it's not anything is not isolated. It's all connected.
Yep.
And so fiery darts are being thrown at every angle. And we should be aware of that.
We have to be very much aware. I really like the point that you raised about awareness, because I mean, everybody doesn't necessarily have the same passion as me or you, right? God didn't call everybody to the same level of passion, but I think this idea of awareness, and I want to second that in addressing the question that Ruth brings up. Do you think transgender thinking is an element of illusion? I do. I think there is an element of illusion. I think there's an element of delusion. But here's the thing that in the video that we raised is that there are a lot of people that are in support of the movement, if you will, that really are functioning from a place of pure in heart, because they have been taught that if we don't allow these children to transition and make these decisions, they will then kill themselves. Right. They're going to live in depression.
Right.
And so as a teacher who loves little Johnny, I want what's best for him based off what I'm being taught.
Correct.
Right. And so I'm going to make decisions based off my pure love. Johnny, you can do whatever you want.
Right, right.
I'm being deceived.
That part is what that's the part right here.
Right. My motives are pure, but I've been deceived into accepting.
They're based on a lie.
Because I'm unaware of the reality of what's going on.
That part. Brother, you couldn't have said, I couldn't have said it more better. That's that part.
And that's why, like, this is what we're doing. The awareness to say, no, teacher, there's an agenda behind the scenes, and they are literally doing they're playing on your love for children.
Your emotions, correct.
Your emotions to allow them to do whatever they want.
So when it comes out that one of these school shootings was orchestrated, like a Sandy Hook or something, first your heartstrings are pulled because it's children.
Yep.
That's what the newsline reads. And let me just interject this. If you don't think that this should be a thing, like we should have this much passion or if you don't want to be aware, turn the news off. Turn the radio off and don't get any information. That's all.
Yeah.
You definitely get turn TNT off. We get canceled all the time. That's easy.
All the time.
All the time. But they're playing on your love, that sincere, pure love. We're not challenging that part.
No.
We're just saying that is uninformed.
Yep.
Misinformed. Deacon Scott said power has to be in the home. Parents, aunts, and the community raising a child. That's what I said. Homeschool or micro school.
Yep.
I haven't heard of a man in this world wanting to menstruate and a woman wanting to have a young boy's puberty,
right?
Growth spurts and other things. Yeah. Nor have I. They want the illusion part.
Yeah.
Like Auntie said. That's what they said at the school board meeting, right?
Yep. Exactly. That's what it is, man. That's what it is. Thank you, Sister Darlene. We're talking about it. We trying to make sure that y'all are not being affected by truthophobia because it's a thing. It's a real thing.
That man came on. I made a post. The man is actually saying that he's lactating.
Look at this guy. Say hi.
He's lactating. When I was working this weekend, we got to talking about, because we have some people that work with us in some different communities.
Yep.
And, I enjoy having an intelligent conversation. And this came up about why, after we left work, we have carpooling and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Why is this even a focus or an issue? Like, why talk about it?
Right.
It's like, wow, why not? And it don't matter if your kid's not in school, it's affecting the community, everybody.
Some people say this is the most significant topic of the 21st century.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I disagree. it's a human rights topic, and to me it goes all the way back to kind of trying to create a godless society. How can you believe that you were created in the wrong body? What is that supposed to do to your self-esteem?
What does it say about God?
Yeah.
And so, as believers, that's why I'm asking why that matters. That's why it matters.
Yeah.
Like every conversation I've had about the nature of the earth and the nature of nature, I'm offended if you credit not the creator, if you put credit somewhere else,
Right.
and worship the creature more than the creator. I'm offended.
It's definitive. If you have this, if somebody convinced you that you were created in the wrong body, then you're absolutely worshiping the creature more than the creator.
And for this cause, God gave them over to a reprobate mind and to do those things which are unseemly.
Yep. And this is my last comment, but
that was mine.
you know, when you go through scripture, you will find, particularly in the Old Testament, that God made Israel create laws so that there was a definitive difference between themselves and the other nations.
Oh my.
One of the things that was very commonplace with the other nations is that they worshiped idol gods and were very very willing to sacrifice their children to these gods that could not rescue them. And we in America are probably not going to erect a statue and kill our children. But the attack that is happening is on and to the children. We are, in a lot of cases, as guilty by essentially duplicating these same sins, by allowing them essentially to come under the control of a godless society that is serving in idolatry.
Wow.
And so it's bigger than just awareness. God basically said, I'm going to be your God. You're going to be my people. You're going to have to live in a level of distinction from the rest of the world as a witness to who I am. And so I think that we have a responsibility to raise awareness, but to also to speak out that, you know what, this isn't what we're supposed to be doing. These guys are too precious. Appreciate everybody talking about how cute they are. But if his mama or me was around here trying to turn him into a girl, we should be put away somewhere, because that's not what God created him to be. We got to protect our kids.
Nugget, because he's a 6-piece nugget. The flood of instant microwavable info overstimulate us. Social media, sounds, music, short bursts of info, truth or lies.
Yep. TikTok.
Itching ears.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
That's good too.
Yep. Ruth says, I think people should be aware of their environment. You should have a strong sense of self and who you are in Christ Jesus. That's it.
It's true.
You got to know who you are. Okay. People don't want to see this. They don't want to see that coming out your mouth. You just eat.
Man. All right. I thought you was going to sleep, nephew.
So I took a nap. Took a cat nap. So like 20 minutes.
Now see that dude, man.
So yesterday,
how would Joe look trying to breastfeed this dude?
What? Like somebody need to be locked up.
Joe, you gonna let anything happen to him, Joe? Anything?
Not on my watch.
That part. You said it like you meant it too. That part, okay.
Did.
Figure it out, did right?
Did.
Sean said, "Look at what." Oh, hold on. He had a comment. That
Who,
Jake was
Sean?
yeah.
Oh yeah. I saw it. I saw it. I know exactly.
That's how you identify, right? That Jake was funny to me.
Let me see if I can find it. It was kind of a while ago.
Man, y'all be commenting a lot on this Jake.
Yeah.
Prince, he's growing up fast. He is. Erica said that would be an abomination. Trying to lactate. Yeah.
When we asked about the bathroom.
You're right. So the little boy said he was a girl and went in and raped the little girl. Then the judge let him go.
The boy family would have been identifying him by standing over him.
The end.
Literally. Of discussion. Oh man.
All right.
We love y'all.
Famous. Homegrown flowers. I see y'all over there. All right. We're going to get out of here. We love you guys.
Yep. We love y'all. Hold on. One more question before I can.
All right.
Before we go. All right. Hold on. Do you believe that a 7 or 8-year-old will not change his or her truth in just 5 years? If you are saying yes, give him guns, wine, and let him be wild and see who would be safe. Yep. Here you go.
I think that training is specifically targeted to be stopped. The training of father to son, this connectivity. There's a specific agenda to wedge this apart and empower this entity, this person, this body to care for it itself and to say, well, you can't even say it's bad. That's what I'm saying. You can't even say right. I'm hungry. I mess myself. Right. Change me.
Exactly.
How is he going? And the people are literally saying that this baby is aware of gender and knows what if he wants to change at this age.
Right.
What? It's a farce. Yeah. It don't even.
No logic. Doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense.
All right, we having cute baby video from the end of the day. Hey, Prince.
Say,
you wave to the people. Hey. Sing a song. I heard you over there talking.
Mm-hmm. He's become aware of his toes recently. He likes to
grab really?
Them.
Y'all see them toes? Look at them toes. He got all them janks. See that? I know this unconventional on a podcast thing, but we never really did it like nobody else already from the beginning.
Well, y'all been with us.
You know what I mean?
The whole step of the way.
The
where
whole
he was
step. So
not even thought about.
Hey, you see them cute toes? Did he try to put them in his mouth?
Not yet, but he's been grabbing on them a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Got toes, Doc.
Mm-hmm.
All right. We love you guys.
We love man.
Share some wisdom somewhere.
Because when you come in, we're gonna bring you on, man. I saw what you said about wanting to have a conversation with us in person. We got a few in-person things coming up that we got to talk about. But we got them coming now.
Blessed brothers of the Most High God, Clem the Jim said.
Appreciate you, Clem.
Listen, let me leave you with this quote from Blaise Pascal. Who's a French mathematician. You familiar with French?
Yeah. Can you program Pascal? Yeah.
Right. People almost invariably arrive at their beliefs, not on the basis of proof, but on the basis of what they find attractive.
Wow.
Boom. That's a boom moment.
There it is. Say? Boom. That's true. It's so true.
I had made it as I just didn't post it, but you see it's a meme.
Yep.
I'm making a post, a meme.
Yep. There it is.
Boom.
All right. Boom. We out of here.
Y'all. Boom.
See y'all. Boom.